So it looks like Real Housewives of Atlanta is trailblazing with the first virtual reunion, and part one just premiered the other day, and I'm here to talk about it. Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to Libra Views. I'm Charlene. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, share it, all that. Okay, so Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 12, I think. It's been goddamn so many seasons. Season 12 premiered on Sunday. I'm a little late, but I'm here to talk about it. So all the ladies were dressed in their white. To me, I thought all the ladies looked good. I thought all the ladies, the dresses were nice, you know what I mean? I thought Candy looked really, really, really pretty and gorgeous, especially off of the fact that she did her own makeup, she did her own hair. I thought Candy looked really pretty. So, I wasn't really, displeased with the fashions. However, when Marlo and Tanya was showed later on in the episode, but, I thought Marlo's outfit was really nice. I thought she looked like, a fucking gypsy from Hunchback in Notre Dame or something. She looked really pretty. So, Andy's background was giving Kaya tease. Did y'all not peep that? Y'all always want to come for the queen. Y'all always want to come for the queen. But whole time, Andy's background was definitely giving Kaya tease. I don't know if y'all peeped that. So then they start getting into all the nicknames, the 50 Cent, the Nene. Ken was the funniest one, where everybody kept saying, Ken, like that shit was hilarious. And all their alter egos. I thought Cynthia was funny because they were like painting her out to be like this sweet girl, and then the next scene was like, we're gonna get this motherfucker straight right now, like, you know what I mean? Like, Cynthia is definitely a pushover. She's definitely a sweetheart. She's definitely emotional. But at the end of the day, Cynthia does know how to defend herself and get it started if need be. So, and she's proven that. Cynthia says, Cynthia brought up a good point. She did. She said, I think it's funny how, 1 minute, I'm portrayed as this person that's, constantly going off and crazy. And then, the next minute I'm considered weak and a punk. And, Nene obviously took, the blame for that. She was the one who definitely said it. And I think it's a good point. You know what I mean? Like, Nene is just full of it. If Nene is full of it, she says whatever she wants to say at the time to get back at the person. And, she knew that calling Cynthia weak would hurt her. Because she knows that Cynthia's not weak, because Nene, that says a lot about you, because birds of a feather flock together. So if you felt like Cynthia was weak, it probably was a reflection of yourself. Kenya's relationship with Mark comes up, and Kenya basically says that Mark has done a 360. Okay, now we don't watch the whole season. Now, I didn't really review this season, but I was watching it on and off, and we all saw, how Mark, was definitely treating her. It was kind of like weird, it's like, if you guys are in a relationship, the whole marriage thing has been coming into play. Nene has been saying all for months that, Kenya's marriage is fake, and, that's always been kind of a narrative for Kenya, but even if they weren't married, okay, whatever. They're not married. They didn't sign the piece of paper, but, they're still in a relationship. You feel me? Like, the way that he treated her, was definitely really kind of weird and not a relationship that I will probably want to be in, and most people, wouldn't want to be in. But, she has a child with this man. But Kenya says that he has done a complete 360. Now, we can only do but so much in this situation, which is just go by what Kenya says. Kenya say that the guy's changed. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Kenya is the one that is laying down with him at night. Well, not really, because they live in separate cities, but you know what I mean. She is the one who has to deal with this. I say two things. I always say, you can do whatever you want to do. No, well, it's not really two things, but it's just kind of a general statement. You can do whatever you want to do as long as it's not affecting others. You know what I mean? And it could affect them in a positive way. But once your relationship, your addiction, your, characteristics, your whatever about you spills over and begins to affect other people, that's when it becomes a problem. So, as of what we know right now, Kenya and Mark's relationship, you know, isn't extremely draining, or it isn't involving other people as of right now. So if Kenya loves it, and Kenya like it, I love it, you know. You know, I always say that, you know, if you want to put up with the shit, you know, put up with it. But when it gets to the fact where it's possibly affecting your child, or it's possibly affecting your family, you know, like your earthly family or your close friends or your close family group, and it starts affecting them, you know what I mean, in a negative way, that's when you kind of have to step back and be like, okay, you know, this is beyond me. You know, this relationship, this whatever is beyond me, and I have to do something about it. But hey, her relationship doesn't seem like it's spilling over too much into anybody. So Kenya, if you say that he's doing a 360, we just gonna go with what you said. Andy asked how she would feel if Tanya would have brought one of Mark's women that he was texting. So they flash back to a scene where Kenya was kind of distraught, and she was talking to Cynthia and Candy, and she was basically expressing how she had went through his phone, and it's a couple of girls, you know, that she's seen, and it was one specific girl that was, you know, inquiring about keeping a relationship going, you know, all this. And Andy basically asked her about it, you know, and Kenya never answered the question. You know, she wanted to be like, well, no, it wasn't. She wanted to explain the logistics and the context of, I guess, the relationship with the girl. At the end of the day, your man was texting a female, his ex-girlfriend, thought, or whatever. He was texting another female, and you were on national television crying about it. So when Andy asked you, how would you feel if Tanya brought one of those females as you did her? You know, you didn't answer the question. You breaking down the relationship that Mark has with the girl that he was texting, or the girl that was texting him. You know, that didn't answer the question on how you would feel, regardless of if they were texting, not texting, they met in the park, they didn't meet in the park, they met at the bar, they didn't meet at the bar. How would you feel if Tanya did that to you? And you never answered the question. So I was like, is Mark Kenya's karma? You know, Mark could very well be Kenya's karma. You know what I mean? What goes around comes around. What goes up must come down. You know what I'm saying? The energy that you put out into the universe is the energy that you, you know, will direct, you know, that will come in your life. In the Bible, it says, seek and you shall find. You know, and, you know, Kenya, excuse me, there's something over here on my dresser that's irking me. You can see in Kenya's past, and I don't care what nobody says, Kenya did come for people's relationships, okay? Now, did they come for your relationships? Yes. But from what I remember, from what I recall, Kenya, you started a lot of the situations that happened, and a lot of the things that Portia and a lot of the things that Nene, well, I don't know about Nene, we could leave Nene out of this, but a lot of the things that Portia and a lot of the things that Phaedra in particular were saying about you and your relationships was in response to the things that you were doing and saying about them and their relationships. Let's just keep it real. You feel me? I feel like Portia wasn't really on it. She was on it the rest of the reunion, talking about giving face and stuff, but you didn't check Kenya right then and there. Because you should have said from the beginning, you came for me, you came for my intelligence, you came for my relationship. I remember when they were all on a girls trip and they wanted to go to a strip club or something like that, and they were on a party bus, and Portia decided not to go, and Kenya was like, wouldn't let you, like, you know what I mean? Like, Kenya, you did always have shit to say about Portia's relationship, and in response, Portia would then go, you know what, you are not married. You know, of course Portia's gonna come. So there's a lot of things that Portia and especially Phaedra and everybody has done to you and everybody, but you did come from for a lot of women's relationships. So Mark may be your karma. That was the energy that you were indulging in. That was the things that you were seeking deep into. Negative bullshit, and it just has come back around, and it's sad to see. I feel bad for Kenya. I want Kenya's relationship to work out. You know, her daughter is gorgeous. You know, she's quote unquote married to this guy. I want to see it work out. I don't want to see her, you know, be miserable and not be with the guy. But at the same time, we have to be realistic. Is this her karma? Might be. Nene said Kenya didn't use her egg to create Brooklyn. You know, Nene just pulls these quote unquote reads out of her ass. Like, let's just be real. You know what I mean? Like, girl, remember you called her a buffalo. So you know damn well she was carrying that baby. Just, there's no point in even staying too long on that. Andy mutes Nene because Nene starts going back and forth with Kenya. And I think she was going back and forth with Eva at this time. But kids obviously come into play. Obviously, after he brought up the egg thing. Excuse me, let me drink some water. They say kids were off limit. And, Andy did bring up a good point when he brought up the whole Sheree thing. Because when Sheree talked about how her son was allegedly stealing out of Walmart years back, she said, don't bring kids into it. You should not be talking about eggs and this and the third, especially because, Candy, she did use a surrogate herself. And there's a lot of women, like, Nene, you said it yourself, kids are off limits. So I just think that was kind of bullshit. But Kenya got that ass back when Kenya said, and your sons look exactly like you, Nene. Slurping that straw, and I agree, because with all due respect, Nene's sons are not the most attractive. They might have amazing personalities. They might be very talented, smart, but they are not lookers. So that was definitely a rape. Kenya said Nene looked like a white woman. I disagree. I don't think Kenya looked like, everybody was getting their life and when she said it was seen for white chicks, but I didn't think Nene looked like a white woman. Honestly, I think that was the brownest that we had ever seen Nene. Honestly, Nene was looking a little pale, so that was the darkest that we have seen Nene, so I didn't think that she looked like a white woman. Finances come up. I don't know why everybody is going so hard on Eva's finances, because here's the thing. From what I recall, none of these bitches grew up in the upper luxury. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. Now, they done built, empires for themselves in different ways, but, the way that these bitches always want to talk about finances and who got what and who got who, you would have thought that these bitches would have came out the womb, you know what I'm saying, on a Princess Diana shit, or... You feel me? On their Blue Ivy or their Northwest. You would have thought these bitches came out, with parents from a $1 billion family, like little Stormy. You'd have thought these kids was little Stormy. Girl, I don't know why y'all always be so focused on somebody's finances. Like, okay, like I don't know if it's something for the show, this, that, and the third. But from what I understand, Candy, you was raised by a single mama. Your mom had to work at factories and this, that, and the third. And Candy, she's not really involved in this, but you know what I'm saying. Nene, your mama didn't even, your mom didn't want you. You were raised in Athens. I don't think she was like piss poor. You know what I mean? But you didn't come from the upper luxury, super rich and this. You were a dancer. You had to dance. Who else on the show? Kenya. Kenya's from Detroit. She said she ain't come from nothing. She wasn't raised by her parents. Like, y'all hoes always want to act like, finances is like the bigger thing. And Portia, you come from a line of civil rights activists, but girl, you didn't even know that the Underground Railroad was a metaphor or, just a description for the pathways to free and slave. You thought that the Underground Railroad was a real railroad. So I don't know how privileged and how fancy you grew up, because, if you grew up in civil rights and all this, and you had all these famous Hosea Johnson, whoever that guy is, your uncle, your great granddad, the history y'all didn't grow up in the upper luxury. So I just don't understand why finances is all coming up. Portia is going in on Eva. Talking about girl, they talk about finance, talk about age. And then Portia said, her titties is social distancing. Portia, I would like to see how your boobs would look if you didn't get a boob job and then had a child. Because let's be real. Eva has had 3 children. Okay? And her titties are still sitting up. Those are what natural titties look like. Every single female on that stage has fake titties. Every single one of them. You know what I mean? So I would like to see how Portia's body would have looked after having a child without the titty implants and without the lipo. hate that. I hate when people try to come, girl. So Kenya shows a marriage certificate. Y'all buying it? Is y'all buying the marriage certificate? Is the marriage certificate real or is the marriage certificate fake? I don't know, but what I do know is I really don't care if they're married or not. You know what I'm saying? They're in a relationship, they're committed, they have their family, whatever. Kenya, if you want to get up on the goddamn, and see, this is why your relationships are probably falling apart, because you get up and do shit like this. Now, I hope it's real. Chronicle Speaks, she did a video saying that, the document might be a little fake, but I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt, Kenya. I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt and say, you know what? The marriage certificate is real. I'm gonna let you add that. So Kenya produces a marriage license. Good job, Kenya. Shut those hoes up. So after that, Cynthia brings up the fact that so the reason why Kenya showed the marriage certificate was because Nene was one of the main ones saying that Kenya's relationship was fake. Right after they had that conversation, Cynthia felt as though she should chime in as well and say, well, Nene, you also did say that my relationship with Mike was fake as well. Nene denied it. She said she never did. Then they brought up an article that she apparently did. Kenya, Kenya was kind of talking. Cynthia was kind of bringing up her point. Eva's kind of jumping in, trying to defend Cynthia, trying to defend Kenya. And Nene gets so overwhelmed that she closes her computer and she walks away because she's just so overwhelmed. Girl, you made it see. Now, see, we got a couple of more parts of this reunion to go. So we have yet to see. We have more things to see. But judging from this first episode, you made it seem like everybody was coming at you, girl. It was only you and Kenya had a conversation. And then you and Cynthia had a conversation. And yeah, little Eva was jumping in from time to time. But girl, I remember when Kim was on the reunion. And it was everybody. Candy, Phaedra, Nene, you never stepped in and said, you know what? This is not right. We shouldn't all be ganging up. We should all have our own separate times. Whenever it's somebody else, it's cool. And you didn't even have that many people ganging up on you. So I don't know why you slammed that computer and walked away like it was, such a big deal. But Andy kept moving the show along. He brings out Tanya. He brings out Marlo. I said before, Marlo looked bomb. So Dennis with the bow comes up. The Portia comment, the Portia's baby comment, Dennis with the bow. At the end of the day, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. At the end of the day, we all know, Eva, you was trying to be shady. Because we all know that Dennis is not the most attractive guy. I don't think that he's that bad looking. I think he looks like the goddamn dude from Bebe's Kids. Who was the lead actor from Bebe's Kids? That's who he remind me. He ain't that bad looking. But the general public thinks that Dennis is not all that good looking. And Eva, you was being shady because in that moment, you were upset, you were pissed, and you were throwing shots at Portia. And then you said, it wasn't like you guys were talking about rainbows and flowers. And you said, you know what, and yes. And little PJ, she looked just like Dennis with a bow on it. No, you were in a heated moment, spewing out words of anger. And you also said, baby looking like Dennis with a bow on it. You was calling that baby ugly. I think PJ is cute as a button. And that is when I really do. I think Portia's daughter PJ is absolutely adorable. Precious, chunky, cute. I think her baby is cute. But Eva, you was trying to call her baby ugly. And that's just what it is. We ain't going to be going back and forth like, what's wrong with me calling her that? Girl, you know what was wrong. You know what was wrong. So we ain't going to be spending too much time on that. Oh, I forgot the KMZ. The KMZ shit was funny, the clips, the KMZ, with Candy being the bone collector. And, Candy, she ain't had too much going on. She had a little sprinkle razzle-dazzle with Mama Joyce and Todd. But that shit is so Todd and 3. We done seen that spin-offs and all this. We done seen that time and time again. So Candy is just doing her job and trying to keep her check coming in. And she figured, hey, why not stir up some shit between these hoes? And that's what she did. Okay. Eva's nappy-headed little comments. I ain't gonna spend too much time on this either. Eva, you know the difference. From what I understand, you went to an HBCU. You understand how that goes. Kenya broke it down beautifully. I love the way that she talked. I wish that instead of Eva trying to combat, I wish she just maybe would have been like, okay, fine, you got that, whatever. And just let it be, but whatever. So then they show Nene going on her apology tour. Ain't nothing new about that. She is doing what she got to do to get where she got to go. That's how she is. Very manipulative, very out for herself. Nothing new. We 12 seasons in with Nene. There's nothing new. They bring up the Wendy Williams thing. I made a video a couple videos ago. Y'all can go watch it. Wendy Williams was never Nene's friend. This ain't nothing new. Candy broke it the fuck down. You know, if it was anybody else, Nene would have dragged y'all for filth on social media, on her YouTube channel, on promo runs. Nene would have dragged y'all on her Instagram or her Twitter. She would have dragged. She would have dragged if it was anybody else. So at the end of the day, we all know that the relationship that Nene is trying to salvage and protect is a relationship that she is trying to do to keep her one leg in that entertainment space, you know, as best as she can. And we already know that. And Kenya broke it down. Portia and Nene's friendship come up, you know, so they were talking about the, you know, the relationship tour, and Portia and Nene's relationship comes up. Portia brings out receipts, and Portia calls Kenya a bitch. I thought this was funny. You know, Kenya starts going back and forth because Portia said, I don't appreciate you guys making fun of me and me and Nene making back up. You know, Kenya said, you know, whatever. Portia, they're going back and forth. And Portia's like, well, I got receipts. And Kenya said, well, I got receipts. And Portia says, you know, well, bitch, da-da-da-da. And Kenya said, why are you calling me a bitch? And did you see that small little clip where they put Tanya in there? And Tanya was like, ooh, she called you a bitch. Because, you know, Tanya was so broke up about that cunt word. So she was like, girl, I don't know why you acting impressed about bitch. Girl, you around here calling bitches hoes, cunts, all this, you know. And so Candy said the only reason why she was surprised, Candy and basically was talking for Kenya too, the only reason why she was surprised that Portia and Nene made up, she wasn't surprised that Portia and Nene made up. She was just more kind of like taken aback by the whole comment of Portia saying, you know, crying, and I miss you so much and it's been so hard without you. And, you know, Candy's like, you know, we've had conversations and it just didn't make sense for you to act that way because it didn't match the conversation that you were having weeks prior. You know, Nene says that Portia and Nene dogged each other out, and that's fair. That is fair. You know what I mean? You know, sometimes things can be a little harsher than others, but you know, when friends go at it, friends relationships are sometimes just as deep as an actual relationship. You know what I mean? And so people go back and forth and they say things, and you know, if they can get over it, if Portia and Nene can get over it, Kenya and Candy should be able to get over it. And that's that on that. That was the first episode of the reunion. I will be back to review part 2. And until next time, deuces.